I think it's time for some good old-fashioned tinfoil hat little theories going on for Arizona State Sun Devils football. So let's talk about what's going on with the Sun Devils, future of the program on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
Are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Remember, wherever you're getting your podcasts, including YouTube, hit like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Stay in touch with that content by following me on Twitter at RichieBrads36 and the podcast as well at LO_Sun Devils. Now, guys, there is a lot to digest with Sun Devils football right now. In the last 24 hours, Arizona State has another transfer, a former 5-star transfer, by the way. A potential 4 to 5-star quarterback is potentially coming to the program. He is visiting this weekend, and the other ramifications that this could all have, which is why for this edition of the podcast, I have myself a tinfoil hat that I'm going to be wearing for the duration of this podcast. If you guys are looking live, you can see the terrible tinfoil hat that I have made, but a tinfoil hat nonetheless. Let's dive into this. So, first of all, let's talk about the new transfer that's coming in, a edge rusher by the name of Clayton Smith. Smith is a former 5-star prospect. He is an edge rusher for the team. He had spent the last, I believe, 2 seasons with Oklahoma, redshirted one of those years, and was overall just not able to get onto the field. He will be coming to Arizona State. He's a product of Queen City, Texas. 6'4", 231 pounds. With Arizona State, I'll be interested to see the role that they want to have him in, because I feel like this is a player that could potentially be an edge rusher, but with Arizona State's 4-3 defense, they might also play him a little bit at linebacker as kind of like that Sam or Will role and have him as like a rush linebacker that the team definitely values. There's a lot of different things that Arizona State can do with a 5-star athlete and a 4-star transfer. This is a very exciting move for the team. I'm not saying that this is some kind of like break the bank move. This isn't like this complete defensive flipping overhaul kind of kind of impact, but it is a really, really good sign that Arizona State is going to be able to start pulling in some of the more high-profile players. Clayton Smith was no stranger to the limelight when he was coming out of college. Now he is going to be one of the more fascinating players for the Sun Devils as we get ready to take a look at the future here with him. This was the number 2 edge prospect coming out of high school back in 2021 and the number 7 product in Texas. And if you know anything about Texas high school football, you know that is not small praise. That's not something to take lightly. Texas takes their high school football more seriously than they take their college football and they take their professional football. High school football is borderline religion in Texas. When you're that highly rated in Friday Night Lights that get broadcast on not national, but like local television for Texas, that's a big deal. This is a guy who can potentially be groomed into a very good pass rusher. And now Brian Ward is the new defensive coordinator coming from Washington State, where he was able to work with a lot of talented young guys, including Arizona State transfer Travion Brown. And having him in that room is going to help this transitional phase for the defense maybe pick it up a little more fast-paced than what we might be used to and get Arizona State back on a winning track sooner rather than later. With Clayton Smith, now you have a really fascinating edge rusher on this roster. I look at the roster right now, and I think that there's some intriguing guys. Obviously, Michael Matus will be back from his ACL tear. Anthony Cooper and Garen Stansbury both exited the portal to come back to the program. Those will be very important pieces, right? You've also got 5 guys coming in through the transfer portal. You've got Tristan Monday from Wisconsin. You have Samuel Benjamin from Idaho State. You have Deshaun Mallory from Michigan State. You have Prince Dorba from Texas. And now you have Clayton Smith from Oklahoma. That's a whole lot of guys to be adding to a room that was pretty thin heading into this year. Now, I'm not saying it's a deep spot because we just don't know, right? A lot of these guys didn't get opportunity at their respective programs. But it has become a very intriguing position for the team. And it is certainly a spot that I'm going to be keeping my eyes on during spring ball. I expect there to be a lot of competition. I expect there to be a lot of rotation. I don't think that there's any guaranteed spots right now. I think that BJ Green should be maybe the only guaranteed starter for this team because he's needed to be a starter for quite a while now. Also, on BJ Green, I did talk to him yesterday on the podcast. Check that out if you haven't. Super humble young man. A lot of fun to talk to. And the best part is I asked him about his goals. He didn't tell me. He just said he's got them pinned up. So who knows what he's got in store for us. But the defensive line has become a very intriguing position for the Sun Devils. I'm very curious about the direction that they're going to end up going moving forward. But so many guys are coming in that are going to create competition, and iron sharpens iron. This is now a position where, like I said, it's not necessarily the deepest spot, but it is going to be one of the spots that does have a lot more competition compared to maybe the tight end position, which we basically know what we got there, right? This is a really, really good situation. And the defensive line wasn't necessarily a strength for Arizona State last year, right? We got run all over. We didn't generate much of a pass rush. We had 17 team sacks. 4 guys finished with 2.5 sacks, which is the team lead. You needed to make some changes to your pass rushing room, your defensive line as a whole. Arizona State is doing that right now. 6 new faces, including Clayton Smith. He's just the most latest, flashiest addition to this defensive line. I think that right now the defensive line group is definitely trending up for Arizona State, and I think that the best might be to come. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from pro football to college basketball, NBA, and more. We've got it all on BetOnline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can find those on BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action happening right now at BetOnline, where the game starts. You guys know the drill. If you have not checked out the brand new Locked On College Basketball podcast yet, make it your second listen of the day. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Plus, hear from big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube and wherever you're getting your podcasts. Let's dive into why I have my tinfoil hat. Jaden Rashada, depending on where you look, is either a 4-star or a 5-star quarterback prospect. He is, I believe, I am stat checking myself right now, the number 7 quarterback, the number 7 quarterback in the nation. He is the number 6 prospect out of California. At one point in time, he was the number 6 quarterback in the nation, but that has since changed according to 24/7 Sports. Per Rivals, they have him as a 4-star. And again, the number 7 California prospect and the number 7 quarterback in the nation. There's been all sorts of stuff that was going on. He was supposed to go to Florida. He was supposed to be the next Gators quarterback. That fell through. Then they had a really, really good opportunity with Miami for him to potentially go there. There's still a really good chance that he does go to Florida. That also is kind of up in the air right now. We'll be taking a look at Cal. There's been a really strong relationship, from my understanding, between Jaden Rashada and Cal. Staying home and going to a local team. And from my understanding, it was just a really good vibe when he visited with the Golden Bears. But then there's Arizona State. And there's a few dots to connect here, hence the tinfoil hat. First of all, Arizona State has a new head coach in Kenny Dillingham, offensive mastermind, young dude. He has gotten to work with some talented quarterbacks, most recently Bo Nix, who he took from the most average college quarterback possible to a legitimate Heisman candidate. That is very, very, very impressive and not easy to do. If I'm a quarterback, I'm looking at him. That's why Dante Moore had committed to Oregon, was almost entirely because of Kenny Dillingham. That's why we connected the dots for Dante Moore to come to Arizona State, is because Kenny Dillingham came here. Obviously, it didn't come to fruition, but that's why we made that connection. Now Jaden Rashada is no longer going to Florida. Now he is out there. And it makes sense for a dual threat quarterback like Jaden Rashada to want to come to Arizona State, where he's got an offensive mastermind and where they have weapons, quite frankly. Jalen Conyers and Elijah Badger are very, very good options. In the Pac-12, where there's weapons galore, those guys stand out. And they're going to go into 2023 as preseason candidates to be all Pac-12 selections. I would be surprised if either of them did not appear on the lists for the college football awards, the Fred Biletnikoff for the wide receiver spot, and the John Mackey for the tight end spot. I imagine they're both going to be on that preseason watch list. These are talented, talented players. There's a lot to like about this offense. And for what it's worth, tinfoil hat again, which is starting to fall off. There we go. Jaden Rashada's dad, Harlan, played at Arizona State in the early 90s. That would be a legacy move for Jaden to follow in his father's footsteps and come down to Tempe and play on the same field that his dad played, at the same college that his dad played. That stuff matters. It truly does. There is that aspect, right? And again, tinfoil hat here. He is visiting Tempe right now. He will be in town for the weekend. It's an unofficial visit. I imagine he's going to enjoy hanging out on Mill Avenue. And he's going to enjoy meeting Kenny Dillingham, meeting some of the other coaches and staff members that the Sun Devils have established, probably talking to some of the players as well. There's going to be a great opportunity here to pitch Arizona State to Jalen Rashada. And I believe that there is a lot of opportunity here for Rashada to end up committing to Arizona State, hopefully by the end of this visit. But nonetheless, this is a massive, massive opportunity for Arizona State to capture a highly rated 4-star quarterback, was formerly a 5-star. This would be earth-shattering for Arizona State if they were able to land this kid. This is a kind of move that gets your program back on track. It's having a high-profile prospect like Jaden Rashada come to your program. I'm not saying that Rashada is going to be the next Trevor Lawrence. What I am saying is getting those high-profile players attracts other high-profile players. There are some guys that I have in mind that I'm going to get into in just one moment. But before we get that far, if you're looking for a delicious treat and don't want all the fat and calories, then you got to try a Built Bar. We've just gotten through the holidays. I know my goal is to eat a little healthier this year. And if you're like me, you want to eat healthy, you don't want to compromise taste, then I've got just the thing for you. You got to try Built. With Built, healthy is actually tasty. They're so delicious, you won't think they're good for you. It's perfect for your New Year's resolution. What makes Built Bars so good? Well, for starters, they're covered in 100% real chocolate. They come in unbelievable flavors too, like churro, peanut butter brownie, and coconut almond. I'm not sure how they do it, but these bars taste like a candy bar while maintaining amazing macros. And what's even better is that they're healthy. It's only 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, and a whopping 17 grams of protein. And now you don't even have to wait around for a box. For years, we've been talking about ordering your Built bars at built.com. Now you can get them at your local Walmart or Sam's Club. That's right. Head to your nearest Walmart today, go to the pharmacy section, and grab yourself a box of Built bars. You can pick up a 4-box of cookies and cream, double chocolate, or coconut puffs. And if you choose to go for a Sam's Club run, go in, grab a 13-bar box with our hit flavors, brownie batter, churro, and more. You can thank me later. Get yourself a Built Bar right now. Taste the change. That is Built Bar. One more time for the people in the back, just in case you didn't hear me the first time. Check out the Locked On College Basketball podcast. Experts Isaac Shade and Andy Patton bring you everything you need to know on and off the court. Hear from big name experts, coaches, and players throughout the college basketball landscape. It's Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube and wherever you're getting your podcasts. There are some players I have in mind for Arizona State to potentially flip the odds and get them back in your favor for your recruiting. The most obvious name is Deuce Robinson. Now, Robinson is a 5-star tight end playing in the Valley. He has yet to commit anywhere. The heavy favorites are USC and Georgia. But that doesn't mean that Arizona State can't swing everything into their favor. There goes my tinfoil hat. I need that back for this portion of the podcast. It is very, very pivotal. I have my tinfoil hat right now. It's not impossible for them to get Deuce Robinson here. There's some attractive factors. Again, Kenny Dillingham. You also talk about the fact that Arizona State really got their tight ends involved this year. In the second half of the year, Jalen Conyers took off. Messiah Swinson has had flashes of being a very talented role player for the team. Having Deuce Robinson here would only establish further that Arizona State is committed to using their tight ends moving forward. Jalen Conyers and Messiah Swinson can break out this year, go on to the NFL, and Deuce Robinson steps in and becomes the new face of the tight end position. Heck, he could still make an impact this year. There's no denying the talent that Deuce Robinson has. There's also Jacoby Lane. Now, Lane is currently a hard commit for USC, but he did not officially sign his letter of intent. He remains a hard commit. He was the only hard commit that did not sign a letter of intent back in December when all of the guys were doing that. That's worth noting. He's a Valley kid, Red Mountain High School. You might be able to swing him. He's a 4-star prospect. You might be able to swing him to Arizona State and convince him that the future's bright here, especially offensively. You get Jaden Rashada, you get Deuce Robinson, you might be able to convince Jacoby Lane to come here. And that would be huge. That is the kind of tide swing that this team is desperately in need of. Moving forward, you could potentially really impact your recruiting for 2024 and beyond. There is currently a 5-star prospect in Arizona. He's down in Tucson at Sal Point Catholic High School. Elijah Rushing, 5-star prospect. He's the number 3 edge rusher in the country. This dude is built at 6'6", 235 pounds. He has an offer from Arizona State. He has offers from just about every big name team that you can think of. He currently has 34 offers. I'm sure he would love to stay in state. Honestly, I'm sure he would love to stay in Tucson, but forget about Tucson. Come to Tempe, come to the better part of this beautiful state of Arizona. Come to a winning football program. You get a guy, like I just talked about with Rashada. If you're able to swing a 5-star prospect, that changes the trajectory of your program. That truly gets you on the fast track to getting back to being competitive and then some. If Arizona State within the next year's worth of time, again, big tinfoil hat here, big tinfoil hat. If you got Jaden Rashada, Deuce Robinson, Jacoby Lane, and Elijah Rushing, the sky is the limit for your program at that point. There's no reason why you can't continue to move forward as an organization and as a program to become one of the top teams, top programs in the Pac-12. USC and UCLA are leaving. There will be a gap. There will be Oregon, Utah, Washington, and everybody else. You continue to recruit the way that we're hoping you can get into that top 4 range. Now, with that being said, I will give the caveat that obviously Arizona State has a lot of proving to do. They're a 3-win program. It's a brand new head coach with no head coaching experience. That can also be a deterrent for some of these young guys when they have offers from Georgia, when they have offers from USC, when they have offers from Clemson. That can absolutely turn these guys off. Totally understandable. All I'm saying, tinfoil hat, you have the potential here to make massive changes to your program. Change the trajectory, like I said. Go from a 3-win team to a 3-loss team quickly. It's all about being able to close. Arizona State has done an amazing job this year, though, of being able to take some guys, bring them to the program. They have 15 commits. Previously, it was like 4 or 5. They really turned around their recruiting. They have 25 transfers coming in, some high-profile transfers too. They're doing everything right at the moment. There's no reason to believe that Arizona State can't get back on the right track within the next 5 years. You might be able to speed up that process. Again, in this crazy scenario where you get all 4 of those guys, Rashada, Lane, Robinson, and Rushing, this changes Arizona State forever. Big F. Nothing's guaranteed. The odds of you getting all 4 of them are about as minuscule as possible. Hence, you get it. But as a famous Jim Carrey, I don't know how I got them confused. As a famous Jim Carrey in the movie Dumb and Dumber once said, so you're telling me there's a chance. And that's where I'll leave you guys for this edition of the podcast. I do have one episode coming out this weekend with another player interview. Make sure that you stay in touch with that by following, subscribing, liking, and turning on notifications for the podcast wherever you're getting your podcast. Follow me on Twitter as well at Richie Brads36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Till next time, though, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.